For those who've been following this channel for a while, they know that I like unusual watches, and that's what I've got here. It looks like a classic TV on your wrist. And when I say classic, for those of us who are old enough, TVs used to look like this. And this watch here brings back memories for me. Now this is a relatively new micro brand, and if you check out the link and go to their website, you'll find that this particular watch has won quite a few awards and accolades, because the design is actually very impressive. And for me, this is a classic style that looks like it came straight out of the 1970s, which resonates perfectly with my personality. Now it's not a perfect watch, but it is a very unusual and very different watch, and having an automatic Swiss movement powering this watch, I think they've done a right choice. Because not only does this watch look cool, it's actually performed very well on the wrist throughout the week. Now you saw the pop-up, MÖELS has sponsored this video, they've sent this watch out without the need for it to be returned. However, with any company that sends any product into this channel, they have zero input into the review. I'm going to tell you what I think of this watch, good, bad and indifferent. And the first thing I'm going to touch on with this watch is the dimensions. And as you can see, it's a rectangle shape, and I measure exactly 45mm by 33. The case height I measure exactly 11.1mm and a lug to lug of 41.7. The watch also features a lug width of 22mm. Now the crown is a 5.8mm screw down crown, and the watch offers 100 meters of water resistance, and the total weight on the supplied mesh bracelet comes in at exactly 118 grams. And I've got to tell you, it's a very unusual experience on the wrist. Being a rectangle shape, it's always going to wear a little bit bigger than the specs would suggest. However, it's actually been very comfortable. One thing I can't fault about the watch is the comfort factor. It's been great. Also, being horizontal, I thought maybe that crown might dig into my wrist. However, no issues. And I think the hidden features of this watch is the attention to detail. If we have a close look at that dial, the handset and indices are rhodium plated. In other words, white gold. And the texture on that dial has a very fine horizontal satin brushing. And in doing so, at different angles, the dial changes color depth and density. In other words, sometimes in certain lighting situations, this is very, very dull. And just when the light hits the dial at the correct angle, you get this beautiful, vibrant orange coming through. It's a sleeper, so it's got quite a bit of depth to its personality, and I can see why this has won some awards, for the design but also for the quality finish. The crystal on this watch is a double dome sapphire crystal, and it's domed in both directions. So having that classic TV tube look has been achieved on this wonderfully. It also has 3 layers of anti-reflective coating on the underside, and it seems to be doing a very good job. It's not perfect, but all things considered, for the type of shape they've tried to create here, I think they've done great. Now if I turn the watch over and have a look at that case back, you can see everything's highly polished. You've got a sapphire exhibition window, and behind that window you've got a Sellita SW200-1B, a no-date Swiss automatic. And with this particular unit, there's no ghost position. It beats at about 28,800 vibrations per hour, hacking, hand winding, and on the time grapher, this one's been running at about plus 5 seconds per day. Now if I turn my attention to the bracelet, it's a mesh style bracelet. It's 22mm all the way down, and it's got a sign clasp. And the way this bracelet operates, you basically slide the tongue in and under to the required length and lock it closed. And to remove that, you simply unlock, pull it out, and away you go. So it's an excellent system. However, I found that sliding the actual tongue in, it's a little bit firm for my liking. It's not as loose as I'd like it to be. It seems to be tight. So trying to get this on the wrist has been a little bit tight sometimes, but when it does get on the wrist and you lock it in, it's been fantastic. Another thing to note is that bracelet is also quick release. Now some of the colorways do come with this mesh strap, but other ones also come with a Hirsch 22mm leather strap. And they've included one in the box, so I decided to try it on and see what it looks like. And it's just changed the whole dynamic of the watch. Again, very comfortable, very nicely made strap as well, very premium. But not only that, I've also had other straps lying around like this bright orange leather strap from Vario. So I threw that on the watch as well. Again, changed the whole mood of the watch. This is what I like about this. I am a child of the 70s or late 60s, and this thing here, the burnt orange, the color that's coming off it, the vibrancy, it's really resonating with me. And the fact that the watch has 100 meters of water resistance, you throw a rubber strap on this, and when you get out there to the beach, you're not really scared about getting this watch wet. So it just opens up a whole different range of where and when you can use this watch. And that's pretty cool. Now I had a look at the website, and there's different colorways that were available in this particular watch. And this orange, it's called Silky Rose, was the one that actually caught my attention. Being a child of the late 60s myself, I wanted to give this orange a go, and it did surprise me. I expected a more vibrant color, but honestly it's more of a dull orange until you get it into the right light source, and then it comes alive. So keep that in mind. Now, as far as legibility is concerned, in some lighting environments you might not be able to read the time on this. Not because of the crystal, but when something shines on that dial, those rhodium plated indices and handset just absolutely light up. Moving over to the price of the watch comes in at just under €1,000. There's different configurations, obviously, with leather straps or mesh bracelets, different colorways. You can pretty much spec it up the way you want. No watch is perfect, and with this particular watch, some of the things that I found that sort of bugged me throughout the week, the negatives, well, number one, it's fully polished and it's a fingerprint magnet. There's fingerprints everywhere. I'm continually cleaning this. So I think it would have been nice to have a brushed case with just some polished accents. That would have been a little bit more practical. Also, that clasp, as you can see, very easily fingerprints. That would have been nice in a satin brushing as well. Another potential negative of the watch is the time setting. So if you notice, there's no minute markers anywhere. There's only 5-minute increments everywhere. So if you want to set an accurate time, you're going to struggle. But in saying that, the winding experience has been great. Single click, it hacks. You can adjust it, lock it in, and away it goes. The latch down experience has also been very good. It locks in and you've got 100 meters of water resistance. The last two negatives of this watch for me, well, although the proportions of the watch are very good, I think if it was just that little bit smaller, it really would have benefited. But then again, trying to fit that Solita in a smaller case would have been a challenge. And lastly, the price, as it is a little bit on the pricier side, but again, it is a unique piece. And that's pretty much it as far as negatives, because as far as positives, this is pretty cool. It's old school, it's classic TV on your wrist. There's 100 meters of water resistance. It has a Swiss Solita. The fact that the strap itself tucks in nice and neat under your wrist, that's a nice design. The fact that it's comfortable on your wrist, again, that's a surprise to me. And the unusual amount of attention to detail, I was quite impressed throughout the week. A very, very different watch. If you're looking for something very different, this is very different. It's not an inexpensive watch, but then again, the detail and the finishing is not on an inexpensive level. From rhodium plated handset and markers, Swiss Solita, nice off-center design on that dial. For those who know, it's following the Fibonacci sequence. As far as ratios are concerned, I think they've done very, very well. I'll leave all the links in the description, guys. Check them out. This has been a very unusual watch for me to review and a very unusual experience on the wrist. If you want something that people are going to look at and say, hey, what's that on your wrist? This is it. Not dissimilar from an Apple Watch, but a lot cooler and a lot more character. Thanks again for watching. Hit me up in the comments. Stay well, stay safe, and we'll see you all in the next video.